My name is Matt Delvecchio, specializing in life transitions, home care, and the senior living industry. Corey is off this week. Hope you're enjoying this gorgeous Saturday afternoon. You know, each week on Life on Rehearsed, usually the second half, it's a segment we call Helping Moms and Dads. And, there's a lot of what we'll call the sandwich generation. You know, the adult children, they've got their own kids to worry about, and they're worried about moms and dads as well. And a big topic that we've brought on every now and then is I wanted to discuss the trend I've been seeing over the last few months, and quite frankly, really in the last few years, downsizing. And many people are decluttering and going through the downsizing process. Quite a few of our listeners have already been through it, and there's been many more that will eventually embark on the process of downsizing and selling their home. Some will do it proactively, and others may be forced to do it due to health reasons. So let's bring back our resident expert, Stefanie Cadou. Stefanie is a residential real estate broker with Royal LePage Village, and she holds a certification as a senior real estate specialist specializing in downsizing, transitioning, and assisting seniors with the sale of their home. Stefanie, welcome back to Life Unrehearsed.
Thank you, Matt.
Well, thank you for joining us. You've been on the show before, and it's amazing because there's always a lot of feedback, a lot of questions. I've worked with you, I've seen you in action, and just always impressed and learning along the way. So first, we want to throw it out there. Please send us your texts at 514-800, and Stefanie will be able to respond to your questions and inquiries about downsizing and maximizing the value of your home. We usually do get quite a few texts. And so, Stefanie, let's start with the downsizing aspect of it. And I think this is why it resonates with so many people. It's tough because it's very emotional and overwhelming, isn't it?
Well, you called it the elephant in the room, and that's exactly what it is. Everybody knows they have to address it. Nobody's interested. Let's face it. We own things that we purchase because we like them. We're attached to our stuff. Unfortunately, sometimes that stuff becomes a burden. And it's actually one of the reasons why seniors, a lot of them stay longer than they should in their family home because they don't know how to address it.
Yeah, it's all of a sudden, and I've seen that firsthand, all of a sudden it just kind of gets out of control.
Yep.
And they'll put off the decision now because they think it's going to be too overwhelming, even to the detriment of their own health. That's a very good point. Now, I think even before downsizing, I've heard you say, if you want to downsize to sell your home, maybe it's important to declutter first, isn't it?
It is, because not every buyer has imagination. So if they walk in your house and all they can see is your decor and your belongings, they're not actually seeing what they're here to purchase, which is your walls, your windows, your actual house. So it's important to transform your home back into a house. We got to make it neutral so buyers can imagine their stuff within your walls.
It's amazing. You've been through so many decluttering processes, and you see it firsthand, don't you? That there's a bit of a relief, a weight off their shoulders when it's decluttered.
Yes. There's resistance in the beginning, but once the process is started, people really start feeling freer. And it's funny because everybody realizes that they have a lot more stuff than they figured they had.
Yeah, especially when hit that basement or those rooms, go in the garage. You're listening to Life on Rehearse. Matt Delvecchio here, and we're talking about downsizing tips, maximizing the value of your home with senior real estate specialist Stefanie Cadou. You know what? Let's get right into some downsizing tips,
Sure.
Stefanie. Where do we begin? What should we do?
Okay, you start early. You don't want to leave it off to the last minute because it's going to be overwhelming. And also, you start healthy. Do it while you have the energy, while you have the physical ability to do it. If not, ask for help. Proceed one room at a time. Start with the rooms you'll be eliminating in your new home. For instance, you go from a 4-bedroom cottage to a 2-bedroom condos. Well, you have 2 extra bedrooms, so start there. Make 3 piles. Yes, I'm keeping because I'm using. No, I'm not so sure. Maybe we'll get back to it. And the no pile. No pile has to get out of the house immediately because you're going to go for a break and start thinking about what's in that no pile. And sure enough, it's going to make its way back to the yes pile.
That's so true. I love that. 3 piles. Yes, maybe, no. And if it's no breaks, get the no out.
That's it. And in the maybe pile, what you haven't used for 6 months goes to the no pile.
Interesting. What about, we're hearing more and more about gifting.
Yeah.
And the challenge also is the kids may not want all that stuff. So what about considering gifting early?
Gifting early is very good, but you can't always rely on the kids because more often than not, they have their own belongings. So think extended family, friends of the kids, friends of the grandkids, different associations, refugees, newcomers to the country, women's shelter. There's all sorts of way to gift early.
Thrift Shops for Nova.
Absolutely, Nova.
Who we just had. If you're just joining us, we had Thrift Shops for Nova earlier on in the show. Wonderful organization. We're talking with senior real estate specialist Stefanie Cadou about downsizing tips and maximizing the value of your home. Stefanie, I heard you talking about something called downsizing parties. Did I hear that correctly?
Absolutely.
What is that?
Well, it's very simple. It doesn't have to be a negative experience. It can actually be an event where you share with your friends and family whole lot of memories and souvenirs, and more often than not you'll crack up. So I actually had one with my grandmother, my daughter, and my sister. And what actually happened is that my grandmother might have only been in her 50s when I was born, but to me, she was always an old woman. And this downsizing party allowed her to share many, many memories with us. And we were actually introduced to the women in the grandmother. And it was a phenomenal experience.
That is something else. I've had a client that went through this. They were regretting just going through all the boxes and everything. And they called me back. They said, Matt, it went from a 180. They did a 180. It was just, this is not going to be fun. And they were going through books, yearbooks, things they had no idea about their mom or their grandmother. And they got the grandchildren involved too in the process. And
it's a family affair. There's going to be tears. There's going to be laughter, but it's going to be a fabulous time that you will remember forever.
It makes a lot of sense. All right. Now, we're downsizing, we're decluttering. Eventually, we have to get rid of some of the stuff. Where can it all go, Stefanie?
Well, again, there's the Novas of this world. You can start off with estate sales. You can start off with garage sales. But whatever you're not keeping, whatever you can't sell, donate it. There's so many people in need. You have, if you don't have transportation for bigger items, call Eco Collect, for instance. They're going to come to you with 2 trucks. One's for the one truck for the things that will go to waste, and 1 truck for the things that will go to donations. And they know which association needs what, so they dispatch your belongings, so you don't have to drive around the city trying to find a place where you can donate.
Interesting, and so you've got those contacts to be able to point in the
Absolutely,
right direction.
Yes.
And you talk about that, and I think we have both seen in our various dealings with some seniors, it could be just a mom, maybe she lost her husband and she's moving on, downsizing and so on, or it could be a couple, and they have worked so hard to pay for a lot of these things, the bedroom furniture, right? The dresser, and the kids don't want it. They don't want the Royal Daltons and the china and the silverware. However, you and I have both seen it time and time again. They don't want it thrown out. So wherever they have a chance, or they know that it's going to be a second life to maybe a family in need, right?
Yeah. Give it a second life. That way you know that you're doing good for others. Someone else will enjoy what you worked hard to acquire.
It's so true. Let's face it, it's a generation of savers. If you were born in your 20s or 30s or even early 40s and you're going through this process, they're not spenders. They've saved their whole lives. It's very difficult. And they've worked hard because they probably came from nothing. And it's always nice to see giving that second life. All right. We have to head out to traffic, Stefanie. But when we come back with senior real estate specialist Stefanie Cadou, we're going to switch it a little bit. And we're going to start talking about maximizing the value of your home and what improvements can be done right now without breaking the bank that will increase the value of your property. But first, we have to head out to the CJAD Traffic Center. We're going to hear from Mark Shalhoub. My name is Matt Delvecchio, and we're talking about downsizing tips and maximizing the value of your home with senior real estate specialist Stefanie Cadou. We're already getting texts in. We're going to respond to some of them, and please send in your texts to 514-800 if you've got questions for Stefanie. All right, Stefanie, we're going to have you switch hats here. We talked about the downsizing and decluttering. Now we're going to move towards maximizing the value of your home. Let's start off with... I know I would be interested. What improvements can be done right now without breaking the bank that will increase the value of your property?
You don't have to go overboard at all. Number one thing that potential buyers notice when they walk into a property is cleanliness. If it looks clean, it looks maintained, it looks well taken care of. So I'm talking OCD cleaning here. The grout, the light switches, everything that we touch on a daily basis that we don't pay attention to. Use a radar and go through your entire house. Now, if you want to refresh, there are inexpensive ways to really bring up value in a property. Number one is a fresh coat of paint.
Yeah, inexpensive ways, right?
Very inexpensive. And you will notice that your house looks a lot cleaner, immaculate, with a fresh coat of paint. If your floors are scratched from years of having kids and pets, perhaps having them sanded before putting your house on the market will be beneficial when it comes to the price you're going to be offered. If you have wall-to-wall carpeting, well, there are two options. Now, people tend to be allergic to carpeting. Whether it's psychological or physical, carpet is out. So you can have it removed and install floors, or at least have it shampooed professionally. But that investment in floors, you will recover your money, absolutely. For kitchen and bathroom, well, there's something called refacing. So that's basically painting the cabinets, changing the hardware. It will give it a more modern look without having to invest in a brand new kitchen. Okay. Adding light also. Spotlights to rooms are a big hit now, and you want to avoid dark spots in your house at any price. Lighting is very important.
You're listening to Life on Rehearse with Matt Delvecchio, and we're talking with senior real estate specialist Stefanie Cadou, who just gave some good, inexpensive tips for some improvements which you can maximize the value of your property. I'm going to get into some text, Stefanie. One just came in. If I want to sell, should I do some major renovations? What do you think?
Not necessarily, because renovations are based on two things: personal lifestyle, personal taste. And your lifestyle and taste may not be the one of the buyer. However, maintenance is key. When I talk about maintenance, you need to think of all the unpleasant expenses that home ownership comes with. For instance, foundation cracks, a leaky roof, a leaky faucet, an old water heater that should be changed. This is part of the home maintenance, and that will prevent value from going down.
It would make sense, right? So don't bother throwing a ton of money to renovate your kitchen, redo your kitchen. Your buyer might not like that, and they end up renovating your renovation.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Another text came in. I live on my own and getting on in age. I know I have to sell, but I can't do it all, and I don't want to burden my kids. What do you suggest?
I would suggest to hire a broker that's very well connected with different services that can support you throughout the entire process, from the moment that you decide to put your house on the market to the moment that your house is sold. So there's a lot of preparation that's involved. There's a lot of organizing, of downsizing, of cleaning, perhaps some repairs, and your broker should be able to direct you to the right contacts.
Right. It makes a lot of sense. I see that certainly in my world, dealing with a lot of seniors, and physically they just can't do it. The kids are busy. Kids are out of town. And what happens is they end up putting it off, like we were talking earlier. So you're right. You need a project coordinator in a way, right? And the right broker will be able to do that. We've got another text coming in about pre-sale inspections. We seem to see a little bit more about pre-sale inspections.
Yes.
What is it, and is it recommended?
Okay. There's different thoughts about that, but I'm a big believer in a pre-sale building inspection. What it is normally, traditionally, when a buyer makes an offer, it's conditional to building inspection and financing. So building inspection, the inspector will come in and go from top to bottom of the house and highlight everything that needs to be fixed or that's not up to code. Now, in my opinion, when I put my house on the market, I don't want the buyer telling me about the condition of my house. I want to tell him, because in real estate, disclosure is key. We have to be transparent. Now, if you've been in your house for 40, 50 years, you can't possibly remember what happened in 1972. So a building inspector will come to do a pre-sale building inspection, will give you an 80-page report disclosing everything about your house, and you give that to the buyer. You tell him what you're selling him. And the buyer can still do his own inspection. Right. However, whatever you've disclosed cannot be renegotiated financially. So, for instance, there's 3 foundation cracks. You tell the buyer, he can't pretend he did not know when his inspector finds the 3 foundation cracks, and he cannot ask for a price adjustment because it was disclosed.
That's a very good point. You were talking to me off air about that scenario right there. Now, in this crazy market where there's overbidding and multiple offers, some buyers are putting in high bids, waiting for their own inspection. There's 3 foundation cracks. I want to reduce it by $3,000-$4,000.
There you go.
But with that pre-sale inspection, you've already disclosed it. They've signed off prior to putting their bid, so that makes perfect sense.
And it also increases buyers' confidence because you disclose everything. It shows you act in good faith.
Okay, that's great. Talking with Stefanie Cadou, Senior Real Estate Specialist, giving some wonderful tips on downsizing, decluttering, and maximizing the value of your home. Very, very good recommendation, Stefanie. I want to get to another text here. This is talking about downsizing. You had mentioned the charity trucks that would come in and pick up stuff.
Yes,
what was the name of
Eco Collect. So ECO-Collect.
Okay, and you've recommended them, and they're just treating.
I've worked with them for years, and ask for Ross. Tell him that Stefanie sent you. He's very, very nice.
Well, that's good. People are looking for. It's not just necessarily, a junk. And disposal. They're going to give second lives. All right. Well, Stefanie Cadou, thank you so much for coming on. There's
pleasure.
Always so interesting when you're on. How can people get a hold of you?
Well, you can give me a call at 514-885-3524 or visit my website, which is oh my God, movingsenior.ca.
That's right. There we go. We'll repeat it, movingsenior.ca. Okay, well, thank you very much, Stefanie, and that's with an F, right, Stefanie?
With an F,
Cadou,
yes.
Cadou. Thanks for taking some time here on a Saturday, giving some wonderful tips. Appreciate it. And thank you for tuning in to Life Unrehearsed. As a reminder, for all your inquiries or assistance with life transitions, elder care planning in the senior living industry, it'd be my pleasure to help. Our services are completely free. Call me at Lianas Senior Transition Support at 514-622-8074 or lianasservices.com. You want to join us next Saturday on Life Unrehearsed? We've got a wonderful Mother's Day special, including Tara Schwartz, who you might have seen a lot on the news lately, and we're going to have a couple of rock star grandmothers giving some motherly words of advice. We want to thank our technical producer, Luca. Great job today. You can listen to Life Unrehearsed here on CJAD 800 every Saturday at 3 p.m.